In Sanskrit, one word for it, there are many. One word is Chit Shakti. Consciousness is also the power of awareness. It is that which is aware of all the other layers. It is that which actually allows you to be aware. If you're aware, it's because you're conscious, okay? It's not because you have a brain, or even a jellyfish has some kind of awareness, you know? And it doesn't have a brain. Even a tree doesn't have a brain, but it has some kind of awareness. Have you noticed that? It seeks the sun, it looks for all this stuff. Anyways, consciousness is that which is aware of all the other layers, and it is that which creates the other layers. So the other layers are not created by something else, and then consciousness is aware of them. Consciousness is the one that creates the other layers. That's very important to come to see, okay? Consciousness creates the other layers. It is the creator, okay? It's the creative source. And consciousness is also nested in all the other layers. In fact, all the layers are intertwined. They're inseparable. But we can say that this layer, consciousness, is the mother of the other layers. Okay? That is why we can say, remember that statement we saw before? I am not my body, or rather, I am not the body. I am that which is aware, or which experiences a body. I am not the thoughts. I am that which is aware of and experiences thought. I am not the emotions. I am that which is aware of and experiences emotion. I am not the life force. I am that which is aware of and experiences life force. I am not the void. I am that which is aware of and experiences the void. This is because of this layer. Your true self is consciousness, pure consciousness. Yet, because everything else is an emanation of this layer, you don't then reject the other layers. You don't say, I am not, all those things, I'm only just going to be consciousness. No. In fact, the minute you become aware of consciousness itself, you fall in love with everything. You achieve what is called unconditional love, unconditional acceptance. That's the amazing thing. When you, even the word identify is incorrect, but let's say we can use the word identify with consciousness. When you come from that place, when that is your seat, so you're no longer like coming from, I am a physical body with stuff, whatever. When you're coming from the place of consciousness, witnessing everything else, you see, you lose identity, but at the same time you gain everything. And nothing disturbs you. There's nothing that you are like, oh, I'm going to get rid of this or get rid of that. You see, you experience this amazing expansion, and it's all good. That's when you have this peace, again, that surpasses all understanding. You have unconditional acceptance, unconditional love, and you are not freaked out because you know that it's all emanations of you. Now, consciousness is also non-dual, non-local, just like the void. We can think of it as the source, the creator, or any other name you like. To me, for example, when I think of, the word God, I don't usually use the word God, but let's use it. I don't use it because it's been tainted with a lot of other many meanings over time. But let's say we use that word. When I think of God, when you ask me, hey, David, what is God? I don't think of an old bearded guy in the sky, which, I think it's kind of like an image that a lot of people sort of, especially coming from the Abrahamic religions, of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, there is that sort of sensation that there's a being that lives up there and we are down here in the mud. Okay? That's not how I see God. To me, God is everything. It is consciousness and all the layers that it manifests. So, consciousness is beyond space-time, and it is the maker of space-time. So, for example, the grass outside my window is the creator in grass form. The dog is the creator in dog form. You understand what I'm saying? It's like emanation. It's like the source manifests in myriad forms. Okay? Do you see what I'm saying? When you start to look at it that way. And I'm not trying to force you to believe this. I'm just giving you a model, and you can believe it or not, or you can, as you go through this course, you can experientially see if what I'm saying makes any sense. Okay? Now, when people come from this layer of consciousness, such as the great masters that have done this, like the ones we mentioned before, that is how come they're able to do things that look like miracles to us. Okay? Things that defy science, things that defy physics. Why? Because even science and physics are created by consciousness. They're not independent of consciousness. They're created by consciousness. Okay? Everything changes, my friend. The laws of physics change. Even the laws that we think are written in hard stone, atomic laws, physical laws, biological laws, all those are at the mercy of consciousness. When consciousness changes, physics changes. When consciousness changes, biology changes. It is a beautiful system. But scientists, most of them, are not going to admit that. There's a few that do. There's a few that get it. But a lot of them, they think that because physics is the way it is in this point in time, and the experiment that they did last week gave them a certain measurement, that this measurement will remain constant forever, and it has always been like this before forever. No, it's not. It's just what it is right now. But as consciousness changes, even the laws of physics change. You see? So it's a very beautiful system. It's a dynamic and powerful system. Okay? Nothing is static. Everything changes. So, the center of our being is non-dual, non-local consciousness. It is beyond all other layers, yet it pervades all of them, and it makes awareness and perception of these other layers possible. Consciousness is omnipresent. It is all-embracing, yet you don't usually notice it. It is the only layer that is impossible to objectify. It just is. It is the divinity in all things. Yet, this is our true self, blissfully free and conditioned. Everything else is an expression of this layer. Consciousness vibrates outwards into all the other layers of our being. It is what becomes all the other layers of our being. Okay? Is where we come from. Do you understand what I'm saying? When we take our seat at this level, all other levels become a joy to experience. They cease to become a separate thing, or even they cease to become a problem, and all of a sudden, you just enjoy them all. So this is the basis of unconditional love. It's the basis of unconditional acceptance. It is the basis of bliss. Okay? Unconditional love does not come from a romantic love affair. Unconditional love is a property of consciousness because it rejects nothing. It is all-inclusive. It is not exclusive. So think of it this way. Duality, in other words, layers 3, 4, 5, and 6, is the play of consciousness. Non-duality, layer 1 and obviously layer 2, is the essence of existence. It is what you really are, your true self, especially layer 1. So consciousness is that which plays as the physical body. Consciousness plays as the heart-mind energy body. Consciousness plays as the life force. Consciousness plays as a transcendent void. And of course, consciousness plays as the stuff around us. Okay? That is the path of the manifest reality. That is the I am that I am. That is why beingness, that is why our life reflects our beingness. That is why the law of attraction, for example, works. Do you get what I'm saying here? That is why, when you say, oh, the subconscious cannot tell the difference between imagined and real stuff, No, it's not that it cannot tell the difference. It's because it's the same thing, That is why thoughts become things, feelings become things, emotions become things. That is why there is congruence. That is why our physical reality is like a mirror of us. Do you see? Physical reality was built by consciousness so that consciousness can know itself. Does that start to make sense on another different level? Cool. Now let's make one more point here before we move to the final slide. Now look, there are 7 billion people on Earth, roughly, more or less. Well, not less, more. There's more than 7 billion people, at least at this point of today, when I'm recording this, which is, I believe, December the 5th or something, or December the 4th, 5th, 6th of 2020. That's when I'm recording this particular video. More than 7 billion people on Earth, roughly. Anyways, obviously, that means there are 7 billion bodies, physical bodies. See, layer 5, 7 billion of them, right? Makes sense, right? And there's billions of pieces of stuff, trillions actually. Okay, makes sense, right? Now, each body has a heart mind, energy body, right? So you can say 7 billion heart minds, you know? Okay? Now, can you say that there are 7 billion consciousnesses? 7 billion voids? No. No. The counting stops at layer 4, 5, and 6. You can count 4, 5, and 6. Once you start to get into layer 3, 2, 1, there is no counting. There is no separation. There's only one. There's oneness. There's just one. There's just one consciousness. One void. With many faces, yes. With many bodies, yes. With many manifestations, yes. Okay? But there's only one consciousness. One thing with many faces. All the myriads of forms in the universe or the multiverse, all these myriad of forms, by the way, in Sanskrit, they're known as the Maya. You know, you can get trapped in the Maya. The Maya is all the myriad of forms that consciousness takes. They all arise from one source. At least as far as we can tell. Okay? Everything is source made manifest. The creator, the act of creation, and the created creature, they are one and the same thing. Unity plays as diversity. Consciousness is inclusive, it's not exclusive. Hence, you get unconditional love. Do you see how that thing forms whatever? The reason why unconditional love exists is because everything is part of the same one thing. Do you see? All is one. One of the masters that walked the earth, Jesus Christ, otherwise known as Yeshua ben Joseph, what did he say? I and my Father are one. Okay? He also said, what else? Be in this world, but not of it. You see? This map? Does that make sense now? What else did he say? When people said, oh wow, Jesus, you're doing so many miracles. What did he say? These things and more you shall do too. Do you get it? This map? Okay? It's amazing. Literally, I and my Father are one. The Creator is walking with you, through you, as you, every single step of the way. You are never alone. We start to see now that although the different religions of the world seem on the surface to be in conflict with each other, and that is because of all the politics that over time have arisen around these religions, you know. Oh, my religion is the only one and it's better than yours, and so let me beat you and make you believe, you know, that kind of nonsense. Although on the surface and because of time they look like they're separate things, when you actually examine the masters, the original masters themselves, you realize that the masters themselves, they all spoke of the same things. They all spoke of this map. In more or less different ways, but the same thing, right? So Jesus, Buddha, and many others, same message, okay? Keep in mind, and I'm not trying to convince you to drop your religion. That's not my intent. I'm just telling you my observation. My observation has been that Jesus was not a Christian. Christianity formed after he left. Buddha was not a Buddhist. Buddhism formed after the Buddha left. You get what I'm saying? And then over time, people formed religions, they formed new rituals and new ideas and new whatever. They attach a whole bunch of different things to these things. They attach also politics. They also attach power. They also attach control. All these things. Long after the master had left, they added all this other stuff. And that created a lot of chaos and a lot of confusion. But if you look at the original masters, for example, you look at Jesus plus nothing. Not even Jesus plus Paul plus Matthew, Mark, and Luke. No, just Jesus plus nothing. Or you look at Buddha plus nothing. Okay? You start to see that they didn't speak too much of other stuff. They were talking of this map, roughly, sort of, more or less. Okay? So this particular map I'm using, I've used the tantric expression of, which is what I've used and simplified for you here. Well, that's what you're looking at on the screen. And the reason why I use it is because I find it to be the easiest one to follow. But, we will look at other maps throughout this course, to better understand the game of life. Just like when you open your mobile phone and you open the Maps app, I'm sure many of you have opened your phone and looked at maps. You'll notice that the Maps app, you can choose different kinds of maps or for the same area. You can choose a traffic map, a terrain map, a 3D map, and so on. And these different kinds of maps, they give you different information of the same area. So in that same way, we shall use different maps so we can get different kinds of information of the same thing. So we're not just going to use this when we look at several different maps, okay? Now, before we close and look at the next slide and close up, let us set some expectations. First of all, please know that if this seems overwhelming at first, that is a normal reaction. Everybody feels overwhelmed when they first discover this. In fact, sometimes they feel all sorts of emotions, such as both fear and excitement at the same time, which is kind of weird. They're like, because a lot of other old belief systems kind of start to crash when they see this. So it's normal if you feel unstable, or if you at first think resisting this because it's not what your grandmother told you and it's against what your father told you or something. It's cool. Just relax. It's a normal reaction, okay? That will soon evolve into empowerment and gratitude and peace and so on by itself, okay? Second, don't pressure yourself to master anything. Just relax. There are practices to do, such as mindfulness, like I mentioned, or even meditation and whatever, self-inquiry. But if you get obsessed about this, it's a very funny thing. You have to, it's kind of like loving it with all your heart, yet not chasing after it. It's a very weird balance. But what I would like you to start off with is fast relax, go with the flow. You'll find your own level of intensity that is suitable, but you can't force this, sort of. So you don't need to set yourself some kind of egotistical goal. And by the way, your ego is going to try and hijack this process and try to make it its own thing. Like, oh, I'm so enlightened. Have you seen those people? I'm so enlightened. So the ego is able to capture this to derail you. So be careful of that, right? So don't try and set yourself an egotistical goal to master all this in, let's say, 1 month or 1 year or even 10 years. Leave it. Your own consciousness already has a plan for you, and it will direct you. Remember, the source is within you. It is simply asking your permission. Are you willing? The minute you say, yes, I'm willing, let's go, it by itself will take you there. It will bring synchronicities moment by moment, day by day, that are perfect for you. Okay? It may be different path for me and from your neighbor, your son, your daughter, your mother, your child, whatever, your partner. So everyone will have their own path. Consciousness will give you the free will. It's not even going to suggest it. But when you say, I'm ready, let's go, boom, it will start to do it by itself. That's the intelligence in the system. It will always respect your free will, but it will kind of do it for you. Of course, you have to participate, but 99% of the effort and the direction and the guidance will come from within, from your own consciousness. You have to do something, but it's actually the minority. Most of the work is done for you, okay? But just know that even if you're making 1% improvement in awareness every day, it's going to create a tremendous boost in your life. So you don't need to make like 100%. You don't need to set yourself crazy ass goals. Even 1% growth every day in growth in awareness is transformational. Okay? For example, let's say you learn mindfulness, and mindfulness, by the way, is simply being a witness. Instead of identifying with, let's say, emotion and thought, you witness it. That is mindfulness. It increases your awareness. In a nutshell, that's mindfulness. I have a whole course on radical mindfulness, which can go deep if you want, but I've just given you the definition of mindfulness in a nutshell. Okay? So simply practicing mindfulness, just going through your normal day, doing everything the same way, but simply instead of just being lost and in trance, you know, unconscious and just kind of sleepwalking through the day, you simply witness it. This alone is going to create an amazing transformation in your life, effortlessly. Okay? Just witnessing, just watching yourself from within. That is how powerful this stuff is. So please, no pressure. Please. So, final slide and we're done.